even for traditional publishing, it's sort of this pressure to not just write a story, but to showcase the story of writing the story. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I didn't really have a plan. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have a plan. I don't have a script. I just turned this camera on. I'm just gonna kind of give a writing update. My debut novel comes out in a month, so that's where we're at. I really have not posted much this year. I know a lot of you guys only follow me on YouTube, and I feel like I haven't really vlogged and documented my debut year as much as I thought that I would. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I kind of want to talk about my relationship with YouTube, my relationship with social media as a soon-to-be debut author. And I'm also just going to give some updates. Yeah, before we get into all that, if you're new here, my name is Chris. I am a science fiction and fantasy author, and Local Heavens, my debut novel, is a queer cyberpunk reimagining of The Great Gatsby. Dystopian sci-fi, literary sci-fi. I've been describing it as Black Mirror meets The Great Gatsby meets Blade Runner. And we are so close to launch. Like, I genuinely can't believe it's already September. Honestly, a lot of this year has just felt entirely surreal. It's been a year of celebration and joy, excitement, community, and it's also at the same time been a very isolating year. And there's a lot of energy that I feel in the lead up to launch. I guess if you're like not a writer, and specifically like a lifelong writer, but it's like imagine whatever your childhood dream was, and then imagine being on the precipice of like actually hitting that milestone, achieving that dream, and realizing that it's this crazy, beautiful milestone to hit in life. And it's like such a euphoric feeling, while simultaneously having like, it's also not something to be entirely romanticized, because it's incredibly stressful and it's anxiety inducing. And there's this feeling that you just don't want to mess it up. I feel like I can't accurately put into words what it has felt like. Put all these years into publishing your first novel, and now it's actually happening. I do feel genuinely really disappointed with myself that I wasn't able to post as much on YouTube this year because of all of the work that goes into, you know, preparing for a successful debut. I feel like I kind of want to save a whole separate video for, you know, all of the marketing publicity lessons that I have learned from this year. I feel like that's a whole separate discussion about rejection and how rejections are a blessing in disguise, and how, you know, things maybe aren't what they seem like about publishing until you get into it. But I wanted to focus on what my mental state is like right now, being a month out from release. So I guess just to start with like YouTube, I think honestly the reason that I have been posting less is because I have been posting more on other apps. So TikTok and Instagram, I've been the most active. I have been very active making short form content this year, which I feel like has been more helpful in terms of marketing a book, which I guess is kind of part of the discussion that I wanted to have, or at least like this is part of some of the lessons that I've learned from this year, is that I do feel like my reach in terms of maybe, you know, reaching new people outside of just the YouTube bubble, it is a lot better with short form content because short form videos can travel wider. Whereas I feel like my engagement on YouTube this year with vlogs and even with not vlogs, like it's not been a very good year for YouTube engagement. I think some of the best videos that I put out this year, which again, haven't posted that many, but it's really covering topics that are like a little bit more dramatic, which is just how the YouTube algorithm works. Even though YouTube is the platform that I started out on, and it's how a lot of people have, it was like my first public facing social media platform, because I started YouTube from a place of community building and sharing my writing journey, talking about writing craft, and not from a marketing and publicity and publishing place. Like, it's been very weird for me to like market my book on this platform. And I also just don't really feel like that's the vibe of my YouTube channel. I didn't want every single video to be just me marketing my book to you, because specifically here on this channel, it's been more about what my creative journey has been like. And that's kind of what the point of the channel has been. A lot of the vlogs that I was doing, which like vlogs used to be or still are some of the most common videos that I've made, and my engagement on writing vlogs used to be a lot higher, but I think now maybe it's just writing vlog fatigue, but I think sort of the landscape of maybe what is doing well on AuthorTube is different now, which is fine. That's just kind of how content creation works. But I have felt just very disillusioned with playing the content creation game. And I've really sort of, this is a topic that I've discussed in a previous video. Like I have this whole other video dedicated to like what it feels like to be a writing content creator and the constant sort of struggle that you have with how to use your time. Like, should I use this time editing spending 5 to 10 hours editing a long form video, or should I spend that time writing? And ultimately it comes down to, do you see yourself more as a content creator or as a writer? And there's no right or wrong answer. Like, you can definitely be a content creator first. For me, like my priorities are always going to be to writing. And especially now with publishing and having people who are dependent on timelines, like it's not just personal deadlines anymore, has also meant that doing YouTube I've had to take a step back from that. The other reason that I feel like I've been doing YouTube less is that I feel like when you are an author and you have to do the social media game, you also have to expose yourself to the things that content creators have to expose themselves to, which is sometimes just getting really hateful comments. Even though my followings on none of my platforms are huge, I do feel like the YouTube algorithm, I don't know, there's just something about it that, whether it's a long form video or a short, the algorithm is such that it brings you to people who are not your target audience. And some of the most hateful, bigoted comments that I've ever gotten have happened on YouTube. And also just the personal crossing of boundaries. I really try to keep things about writing on my channel, but it's all kind of made me very anxious, and it's made me evaluate how much I want to be on social media after my debut year. That's something that I'm also really struggling with. I don't want to say that I'm quitting YouTube, because I still find YouTube to be its own creative outlet. The reason that I started doing YouTube is because I've always enjoyed making videos. It's this other creative passion for me. Like, that's kind of what I've been trying to evaluate is, am I okay with doing YouTube a lot less often now? Is YouTube something that I am just doing for myself and for fun and not out of obligation? So that's how I'm feeling about social media. But at the same time, it hasn't all been bad. And my writing circle and the people that I've connected with has definitely expanded. And I'm so grateful for the community support. There are, in a lot of ways, the good stuff definitely outweighs the bad. But I think also I have felt very burnt out by social media this year. And I anticipate that I'm very much gonna need to go off grid post book launch. And it can also, it can always feel really weird to talk about this as a content creator. Let's talk about Local Heavens and how I'm feeling about my book coming out in a month. Because, guys, the fact that we're already in September is just so diabolical. So I'm going to give some Local Heavens updates. And this isn't all of the updates, because I anticipate there will be more things to share. Let's start with pre-orders. So I've talked about before how pre-orders are very, very important to authors. It's a very imperfect system. Do I think that pre-orders should hold as much weight to a book and an author's success as they do? No, but this is where we are right now. Also, I'm so washed out. Why do pre-orders matter so much? All pre-orders in any format. So if it is bought before the release date, that sale counts as a first week sale. One of the reasons that pre-orders can matter so much is because if there are a lot of pre-orders, it can mean that a book debuts on a list. The other reason that pre-orders are very important is because it increases the chances of it actually being stocked in a store near you. A book that has a decent or a lot amount of pre-orders means that bookstores have it on their radar, and they will want to have it stocked in stores because there's a demand for it. And the other reason, of course, that pre-orders matter is because it helps authors earn out our advance faster. In traditional publishing, we don't get royalties until our advance earns out. Plenty of books don't earn out their advance, especially if the advance is very big. Totally normal for a book to not earn out its advance, and for authors to not see royalties at all, or to see royalties maybe years after publication, but also earning out your advance pretty quickly can be great. In general, any kind of like support with like word of mouth, boosting the book, getting it out there, getting it in front of more eyes, all of these things really feed into each other. I am so shocked and blown away and grateful for how grassroots the marketing and publicity and word of mouth has been with Local Heavens. As someone who wrote queer literary science fiction, and also just a premise that I feel like is not necessarily for everybody. Like, I was constantly told that this was a very niche book, that this would have a very small target audience. And I went into my debut year expecting that and accepting it and just feeling like, you know, if even 50 people, 100 people pre-order this book, then we're fine, whatever. I went in with really low expectations for my debut year, and I've just had my expectations really succeeded by the passion of you guys and early readers. And I just got an email from my publisher today, actually. I have to sign more book plates than they had anticipated because a lot of people are submitting to the pre-order campaign. So stuff like that is just really heartwarming. Thank you so much if you've bought an early copy. It really does make a difference. And whatever happens from the rest of this year, I just want to say thank you. Some cool things that have happened. One of the craziest things I think that has really boosted the book's discoverability is that we got a feature on Goodreads, most anticipated books for fall, and we are one of the sci-fi titles that have been featured. I think a lot of people discovered the book because of that. The other big thing that happened recently is that we were selected for Aardvark Book Club, which is a book box subscription that operates in Canada and the US. And yeah, I know a lot of you guys, when Local Heavens was announced as an Aardvark title, a lot of people were very, very excited because this is the only way that you can get a US hardcover edition. And the hardcover edition is so beautiful. It's right here, which let's just like go through. Okay, this is all of the editions that we have of Local Heavens at the moment, which, by the way, there are editions of Local Heavens that I can't talk about yet. That's all I'm going to say. But the editions that I have in my house right now. So I have the UK ARC. Can we focus on this? I'm so washed out right now. I'm so sorry. Okay, so this is the UK ARC. Yes, I'm still waiting for my UK final copy. So then we have the US ARC. And then, of course, we have the standard US edition. Oh my God. You guys can see this is a metallic finish, which I think I've shown this already. But yeah, the paperback is a metallic finish. It's shiny all the way around. And it just makes the cybernetic arm look even cooler. And then we have, of course, the Aardvark exclusive edition, which is a hardcover. You guys might have seen this on Instagram or socials already, but it is a stunning, stunning edition. And I actually met the Aardvark team in person. Yeah, so here's the spine. Open up and take off the dust jacket. I said dusk. We have a neon ombre on the naked hardback. This is what the spine will look like. The ombre extends all the way around. Sometimes neon colors don't come out well in print, but these ones came out so beautiful. It has like a really smooth, matte, buttery finish. There's the little Aardvark logo in the corner. Yeah, so these are also really, really well priced. So I think the Aardvark membership is something like $18 USD and $26 Canadian. So you could get this book for basically cheaper than a standard new release hardback. And you would also get it earlier than October 14th, because the release date is October 14th, but if you get the Aardvark edition, it could very well come before October. And I think these ship out pretty quickly. And there's also a promotion. I don't know how long it's lasting, but a lot of people have told me that if you're based in the US, people have been using the current Aardvark promotion right now, where you can get your first book for $4. Kind of a steal, honestly. My publisher also sent me these character art bookmarks. Oops. There's Nick on one side and Gatsby on the other side. Moss Bun the artist, she did this character art, and she also did art for Daisy and Jordan, which I commissioned way later than I should have. But I'm so grateful. She made these beautiful portraits for Daisy and Jordan, so you can check that out. I think I will have revealed those portraits by now, by the time this video goes up. Part of the pre-order campaign, oh my god, also my publisher sent me these old sport baseball caps, which I think if you submit to the US pre-order campaign, so if you pre-ordered a Bindery Books edition of Local Heaven, we entered into a draw to like win additional prizes, and potentially getting one of these hats is one of the prizes. That's all linked down below. Signed personalized copies of Local Heavens are available as well from 2 bookstores, one in New York, one in Toronto. So I'm celebrating the actual launch in New York and in the US. But those are the updates that I wanted to give. And by now, I thought that I would have been able to like share more about my current whip. In terms of the floating house, which I know I haven't given an update on in a while, I think part of me has felt a lot more connected to the project when I talk about it less online. And that is something that I'm trying out and I'm feeling right now. I'm excited to share more soon, hopefully, because it is a premise that I'm very excited for, and I'm very eager to see how people will react to a fantasy project after I'm done with all of this sci-fi cyberpunk stuff. Hi, I am editing this video, and as usual, as I'm editing, this is what happens when you don't write a script. As I was editing the video, I had a lot more thoughts, things that I wanted to say. I saw a video of Lee Bardugo. She was giving a talk, and one of the things that she says, which I think encompasses what I was feeling as I was filming. In the age of likes and follows, we have confused the reward of creating with the reward of being praised for creating. Our culture has never celebrated aspiring. Our culture celebrates markers of success. This is exactly how I have been feeling about social media and writing and content creation, and this sort of pressure to become a content creator in order to sell your books. And this is true whether you go down the self-publishing route or the traditional publishing route. Obviously, with self-pub, there is a lot more stuff that you have to do besides social media. Even for traditional publishing, it's sort of this pressure to not just write a story, but to showcase the story of writing the story. And I think this goes into a lot of what I was touching upon in a previous video that I mentioned about writing and content creation, where it's writing as a performance. And because my screen time has been absolutely atrocious this year with like planning content, filming reels, filming TikToks, turning into like a salesman for my book, I have realized how much that has had a toll on me mentally, emotionally, and creatively. I no longer feel like I am really talking about the book as a piece of art anymore in the way that I was when I was writing it. It becomes a product to sell. And that, hey, that's just publishing. I know that that's just publishing, but I think I have realized that I don't really enjoy it that much. The digital world for me, especially for like the back half of this year, became like the world that I was most consumed with. I really do think that that took a toll on my ability to not only focus on my new work, but to appreciate the book for what it is, to appreciate the book for the fact that it just exists, you know? It's hard to accept as an author that it's your publisher's job to do all this kind of stuff. A lot of authors are in worse situations than me where they can't communicate with their publisher. My experience has been so opposite to that. I feel like going forward, I don't know that I necessarily want to be as online with my writing and my promotion as I have been for my debut. I don't have any regrets about my debut, but I am taking away a lot of lessons about what this experience has felt like. Go back to the question of like, is social media worth it as an author? I honestly think best things that you can do on social media is, first of all, if you're not enjoying it, like if you don't find any kind of creative fulfillment from doing social media, and if you're only feeling like I'm just doing this for engagement, then I think definitely social media is not worth it. The best thing that you can do is either do it because it's fun to do, or do it as a way to just kind of supplement what your publishing team is doing for you. Yes, I do think my YouTube platform, my social media platform, it has probably driven like a few extra pre-orders. Again, this is me just like making guesses, but I am not confident that it hasn't necessarily done more than what my publisher has done for me this year. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes. I also think just in general there is this shift, and this is like not even just about the writing community anymore, but I am seeing a lot of discourse about people choosing to exist a little bit more offline now, or at least people are very conscious about social media and their screen time. I forgot who I was before I was constantly performing for a camera. It's kind of this like ironic Black Mirror-esque thing where I wrote a book that is anti-capitalist, very, very, very explicit critique of consumerism and corporations and this kind of like hollowed out culture that we have now, enabled by technology and the ways that we are kind of compromising our humanity and our connection to ourselves and to each other. I have put myself through that this year by trying to like sell that story as a product. You know, I'm just like, it's very existential up here right now. There's just something about being online as a public person, even if your following isn't massive, that I think has made me feel less human this year. It's not even just like sometimes people are mean on the internet. Like that's just like maybe 10% of it. When I'm constantly performing for a camera, I like lose sight of like why I'm even writing in the first place. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, it hasn't helped that I've had interactions, you know, through comments or people using my business email for non-business related things like over the course of the last, like this last year especially. It hasn't helped the boundary crossing, I think, from author to reader slash content creator to viewer. That has definitely triggered something in me. There was this video I remember that I watched. I think it was like Victoria Aveyard's podcast. She was saying, and obviously Victoria Aveyard is like famous. We as authors, we are existing out here with our real names and our real faces, and we are showing, you know, real parts of ourselves. That's not reciprocated. Like we don't get to know the hundreds, or maybe in her case, the thousands, the tens of thousands of people who are commenting on her videos. It's just this like very weird thing of like being a chronically online author. I think, you know, some authors have been able to really find a lot of success with that, but the trade-off is, of course, opening yourself up to just so much judgment. You don't even have to be someone important. You don't have to have a huge following for people to like see a person on the internet and not really respect them or think about how is this going to come across if I interact with them in an extremely parasocial way. I am excited to just like take a step back, I think, from social media in general, the digital world, and just like having, you know, screen times of like 5 to 10 hours depending on the day. That is just not how I want to live my life for the next year. I think as much as I have enjoyed writing Local Heavens and vlogging it and getting to connect with you guys, and you guys watched me write the book, at the same time I want to try out you know, writing privately again and just sharing things that I feel comfortable sharing. There's both positives and negatives to social media. It has given me a lot. It has let me connect with so many other writers. And so right now I'm just trying to find the balance that feels healthy for me. That's all I wanted to say. I think that's all the updates that I have. Once again, thank you guys so much for being here, for supporting me, being so excited about this book. If you pre-order the book, thank you so much. If you request the book from your library, if you talk about it, recommend it to a friend, whatever it is, if you are just hanging out on this video, it means a lot. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. Thank you for helping me achieve one of my childhood dreams. As much as there is a lot to hate about social media and the internet, I also feel like I have just been supported, and I'm very lucky. I think that's where I'm going to end this video. I will hopefully be vlogging all of the release stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope all your writing projects are going well, and I will see you in the next video.